Okay, now it's 11. We start again with the program. Next talk is from Michael, talking about Dev and Ops, so integration stories. Please enjoy.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I have 45 minutes and 60 slides, so I need to do it brain dump right now. Short introduction, who I am. I'm working at NetWise as a senior developer. My long-term Icinga developer for 9 years now. You know me as DNS Michi on social media, and I'm the Austrian guy at NetWise in Nuremberg, providing all the good stuff like Drasche Keksi. I have some with me, so if you want to taste them later. I'm also doing the monitoring portal, which became my baby. It's the community, it's you, it's me. I built a new platform in January. It's built on this course. It's really awesome. Just register there, join the community, join the conversation, and ask everything you cannot ask today because talk time is over. Short introduction, we already know. You're all using Icinga, so I can actually skip that question. The next question is, who automates monitoring deployments? Like, are you using Puppet, Ansible, Chef, Salt? Anyone? Yeah, some. Yeah, that's good. Because I want to show you some bits or some parts which I experienced, which I'm using myself. Basically, when we talk about automation, I want to install Icinga. I also want to configure the basics, like the features, the host and service objects. I want to actually deploy distributed environments, like master, satellite, client, whatever level cluster, managing the MySQL cluster, whatever. Also, I want to install Elasticsearch, like we heard previously from Blairim. I want to manage the Graphite installation, which is pretty much a pain in the ass if you do it manually. Let it do it with Puppet, Ansible, and so on. And you also get some sort of testing, development, staging, production environment, which is also a good thing because testing in production is not so good. But you can analyze it with Grafana then. For me, it's I like Puppet the most. It's more a personal thing. I like the descriptive and declarative language. And I also know that Blairim and Leonard are taking care of the official modules for Icinga 2 and Icinga Web 2. I also got the chance to use them in the past months. The thing is, I'm mainly using them for my environments, which is kind of special because I'm doing lots of demo and development environments with Puppet and Vagrant and Hyra and environments. And the good thing I also like about Puppet is you find many modules on the Forge, which is the marketplace, and you can just start over, use them, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel and look for your own solutions. Okay, I cannot read it on my thing, but it's over here. This is a short example how you can use the Puppet Icinga 2 module. You define the class. You can tell it to manage the repository. I'm doing that outside. I want to set up a database for the IDO thing, and I want to tell Icinga 2 to write to the IDO MySQL feature, which is the third declaration. And the cool thing about the Puppet module is that you can tell it to automatically import the schema, so you don't have to fiddle with MySQL, import, pipe, whatever. You can just use it and it works. And on the right, on top, I've put a short link where those Puppet modules can be found. Everything which I'm showing today can be automated with Puppet. Another thing is, if I want to install Icinga Web 2, I also need MySQL database for the user preferences and credentials and so on. If I need to, can declare the Icinga Web 2 class, can also tell it to import the schema, tell it where to look for the database credentials, and then it comes to the modules. if you know it, the monitoring module is a separated core module because Icinga Web 2 is just a framework, more or less. And in this case, I tell the monitoring module to use the IDO database credentials, and I also can define the command transports. And this example just uses the Icinga 2 REST API and not the legacy command pipe thing. So this is a lot of thing to do or to try out. But I found it really good. The documentation is really awesome, in my opinion. It's just try it out. If you haven't done so, it's really a breeze to have Icinga 2 and Icinga Web 2 deployed. And another cool thing about that is you can also manage modules with it. So there's a defined resource. In this example, I'm just using the map module from Nikolai, who is sitting somewhere in the audience, and just define the settings, which is Puppet specific in this direction. Tell it my default zoom is level 6. And where to get it from. I want to use Git and master. Don't do that in production, but it's just for testing the greatest and latest. You can also define like version 1.2.0, I think is the latest one, or should be released soon. And I also want to like create my own dashboards. So I defined some templates for the dashboard for Icinga Web 2 and use Concat in this regard to like manage this file from different perspectives with only one source. I can show you later on if I have time in the demo how this looks like. The link is a bit longer. That's actually the Puppet profile I've been developing. Yeah, and if you look on the Forge, the Icinga 2 module got approved lately. It has good number of downloads most recently, and it's in active development. Puppet 5 support for Icinga 2 for the Icinga 2 module is coming soon, and Icinga Web 2 is already there. Yeah, that's it for Puppet. So, next jump, brain dump. Who of you is using some sort of graphing like Grafana? So lots of you. I think I forgot about ROD, but sorry about that. Oh, no, it's here. So it's basically, you know it already. You have several things. These are mainly the ones which Icinga supports. And the thing is, well, I have Graphite Web, which is sort of, let's say, can be enhanced. You have Grafana and you like it, but actually when you just have Graphite, you want to integrate it in Icinga Web 2, which is, for example, in the host detail view, I just want to have graphs rendered. Load is a good example because it always changes if you start some VMs on a MacBook. And the cool thing is you just create a Graphite Render API, which has a huge set of functions. You can do the average, the maximum, calculate, square root, whatever thing. And it returns different image formats in this Icinga Web 2 module, which we developed in the past year. We're using SVG, and it's integrated into the detail view. And as you can see, you can also select the time ranges. I think the default is 5 minutes. But you can configure it and say, okay, I want to see the last 2 hours by default, or just pick it there and use it. And get an idea what's going on, because load could be critical, users could be critical, but why? A different approach of correlation. Another cool thing is that sometimes you just want to have a dashboard with many graphs on it, and you want to filter for it. So you want to say, I want to see every load check in my system. I want to see it like the load check, but only for the hosts with the custom attribute production and host group, blah, whatever. You can actually do that with Icinga Web 2 filters with the same logic you know from problem searching and so on. And it displays all the graphs. You can choose between the time frames, and it also is responsive, which is you cannot see right now, but if you have a bigger screen, you get 3 rows, 3 columns, and like this. Another thing is, it has the module has its own template language, which means you configure everything inside the Icinga Web 2 module. It has some sort of auto detection for if this check command is used, then use the default check. It provides several templates for the check commands provided by the template library from Icinga already. So I didn't do anything with the load check. It's just out of the box. It works, and you can actually define everything you specify for the graphite render API. You can define in these templates. So if you want to have a graph which is pink all the time, we can do that as well. So, or the always green thing for the boss, it's also possible. Just dive into it. The documentation is pretty advanced. It has a lot of examples, and yeah, just try it out. Let us know how it goes. Then another thing, because it's good to have a lot of a variety of integrations to look at, to choose from, and opinions always differ. Let's say you have Grafana and want to integrate it in Icinga Web 2, which is different API, different thing. Normally, you would have a data source like Graphite or InfluxDB or anything else you want to show. You define your templates and your dashboards in Grafana itself. So you need to take care on your own to provide the actual views. You can like debug or test them directly in Grafana. And later on, you want to integrate these graphs into Icinga Web 2. And there's the Grafana module from Carsten, who is also sitting somewhere in here, who wrote that awesome module. It just queries the Graphite API. Either it downloads the rendered graph, or you can also use the direct mode, which just fetches the images as an iframe, or I think it's an iframe, and you get it as a detail view image. You can also use the time frame picker and see what's going on with your load. Or whatever, like disk prediction or disk size. The MySQL bin logs are growing fast, and so on. That's another thing you can integrate into the detail view if you want to use Grafana. The next thing is, I think the current release 1.2.0 was released today, 2 hours ago. I read it on Twitter somewhere, where Carsten added a cool feature like showing all the service graphs as an host action. So there's a link in the host where you can just open in a new panel and get all the graphs for this host. So this one was like the default check, which pings Icinga Web 2 load. But you get a long list. You can like create your own dashboards for it. And if you need anything else, dive into documentation. I once opened up a ticket for Carsten, like do the basic stuff for the users, configuration and all the stuff. And he actually wrote a user documentation how to use Grafana and create dashboards and templates. And it's really awesome, in my opinion. Just look into it, try it out, give him feedback, let him know how awesome it is. And or if you find any bugs or need more features, and dive into the configuration, the Grafana templates, join the community channels, try it out. Yeah. Next, Brenda Pop. I'm good in time. So when I do have, like, I have the metrics, and then, well, like Blairam already told you, I want to, like, also correlate different data, and mainly that's called logs or events these days. I think they both somehow are the same. And the thing is, just short poll again, who is using Elasticstack or Graylog in here? So not so many, but probably in the future many of you. Thing is, normally you would say you would write your syslog to Elastic or Graylog, store it in a document store, and just search it, analyze it, know how many logins you had, do some geomap correlation, whatever comes to mind. But you also want to have sort of monitoring data in it, which means like notifications, state changes, anything which comes from Icinga or monitoring core, and any type of event like cron job triggered backup, what you would normally log, but actually can write directly to Elastic or Graylog in this regard. Thing is, there are different tools or different methods you can use. One of them was developed, I think, like 2 years ago, something like that, by the Elastic project, which is the beats, which is that they are a small library written in Go, so it's pretty fast and works basically on every system, which collects the logs and just passes them into like documentation storage, forwards them to Elasticsearch, stores them, which is the file beat, which passes like any sorts of log, any file which can be a log pattern somehow. And on the other hand, Blairam developed the Icinga beat, which connects to the Icinga 2 REST API, to the event streams, and forwards anything which is a notification, a state change, a check result even, and special data, special metadata, and also writes that to either Elasticsearch or Logstash. And this is basically one of the most common methods these days, the forward logs and events. On the other hand, if you want to do it directly in Icinga 2, you can use the GALF writer, which means Graylog extended log format. I think it's supported by Elastic, but it's mainly used inside Graylog. And on the other hand, we developed the Elasticsearch writer, which can dump data directly to Elasticsearch. At the time of speaking, it's 5x. There's a problem or some breaking changes, like every major version breaks something with 6, but we're working on that or trying to work on that. So you can actually write the performance metrics from Icinga 2 in a passed way to Elasticsearch, do something in Kibana, do something in Grafana, correlate data with that. Yeah, on the other hand, this is some sort of like, the host is down, yeah, interesting. I want to SSH onto the host. I want to view the syslog. Yeah, interesting, doesn't work because the host is down. What did happen like 2 minutes ago or over the past day? And the thing is, sometimes I just want to see that. And when those logs are dumped into Elasticsearch, I can view them. But Elasticsearch is like big server with a REST API. I can attach to several front ends, but actually I want to like integrate it somehow. So I want to like have a central view for faster problem analysis. Could be like Grafana, but in this case, I want to have it in Icinga Web 2. So the idea was, yeah, what should we do? Write a module, because it didn't exist at the time. So at the time, that was the last year at OSMC, where VW sponsored that, the Elasticsearch integration. So it's mainly it's a host actions hook, which means it's not embedded into the detail view, because when refreshing the tab would kill somehow your Elasticsearch instance, and the data is always stale afterwards anyways. So you click on it, you query Elasticsearch, or even the Graylog REST API, I'll show you later on, and you list the entries. You can use filters, you can specify event types with specific fields. So if you say, yeah, I'm not really interested into the host name because I already know it because I'm on the host detail view, you filter that away, or timestamp would be interesting, but different sort of fields, because there's a lot of them in Elasticsearch. And to show you, no, that's Kibana. You can use Kibana, but I want to have it in Icinga Web 2. And this is an example, which you can also try out, because the module is on GitHub. As you can see, in this example, I think I did list the notifications which were dumped to Elasticsearch in accordance with check results and many things more. And the cool thing is, like, you have pagination for all these events. You can filter by event type if you have specified many of them. And it's not so pretty. You can always make it prettier. Even the document you get from Elasticsearch itself. So if you need all the details, grab for it, use the web browser search for it, you can actually dive into that as well. So it's also sort of an inspect tool into Elasticsearch for that specific host and your configuration. The module also provides restrictions and permissions, so not everyone sees everything. So don't worry. If the normal user could actually read everything in your logs, then yeah, that's about Elasticsearch. And then I asked myself, well, how about Graylog? Because Graylog also uses Elasticsearch as a backend, which you can use. You can actually use the Elasticsearch module for Icinga Web 2 with the Graylog backend. But Graylog has some advanced features, let's call it like that. You can use streams for pre-filtering your data. So you define, like, the source type is a specific DM set or a specific group or anything. You can, like, create a bundle of logs or events. This is called streams in Graylog. So you can configure them. They get a unique ID. And maybe you want to only view specific streams in Icinga Web 2 on your host detail and filter everything away, which is like garbage or generated something, whatever. And yeah, you query the data. So basically the same listing as you would get with monitoring list and Elasticsearch list. Get the same filters, get pagination. And I tried that. And the thing was, my idea was, at OSMC, I'm showing a prototype, which worked out. Then, yeah, until the Icinga camp, there's lots of time and development. And yeah, the only thing I did, I published the source code on GitHub, opened some issues about to do, and I'm planning to do that later on. But you can at least look at it, try it out, but it's not production ready. It's not even an alpha version, but we're working on it. Trying our best. If you want to, like, speed up development, just join us with patches, sponsor things, whatever. And yeah, if you want to install it with Puppet, the Graylog thing, and also the Web 2 module, you can use Puppet. Works pretty well. Oh yeah, that was the old draft. How it looks like, basically the same as the Elasticsearch module. But still with streams which are not implemented yet, and give you a better insight into your logs and events. So I have all the logs, the events, and then I'm jumping a bit into the visualization topic, which is sort of Icinga Web 2 doing all the good stuff. And the thing is, I don't know if Nikolai is talking about it in his talk that much, so I decided to show you, because last year we didn't have it. See, he was inspired by the Globe module, which is the Google Earth in Icinga Web 2 module I showed you last year. The idea was to show hosts on a map based on geolocation in Icinga Web 2. So it's about maps, and basically you configure your Icinga 2, you configure your host objects in Icinga 2 with geolocation tags, so longitude, latitude, and you can visualize that on an OpenStreetMap map, which you can see on the example on the right. It fetches the data points as JSON from Icinga Web 2 directly and uses the Leaflet.js JavaScript library as a renderer. And yeah, the screenshot already shows the icon markers, which is also a new feature for the upcoming release. Nikolai was so kind sending me a pull request so I could test it. And yeah, that's basically the main stuff about this really cool module. The thing is, you can also just click the marker and get an overview about the host and the services, so you get an idea what's going on. And it also provides some sort of worst state calculation, so if there's a service which is critical, the overall state would be critical. You can configure the zoom, which means like you don't see always Berlin, but you see the world if you want to. And that's usability stuff. I tested it in the early stages, and I think lots of requests came from my side. You can also just use the URLs you get and put it into your central dashboard. This is actually rendered by the Puppet Concat thing I showed you before. So it's really just putting the dashboard configuration, define it once, and automate it with your tool of choice, your webm of choice. And you can zoom in there, you can click in there, open the detail view. So it's all super integrated, but still needs OpenStreetMap. So I think it's best to just try it out and create some awesome maps. Another thing, I think Bernd spoiled that already, is theming for Icinga Web 2, which means I like the default, but sometimes it's like, yeah, the corporate identity. So I think the telecom uses the magenta coloring. I've seen on some screenshots. I've seen many screenshots I cannot share with you. And the one which is on the right is the company module. The link is below. Slides will be up after the talk. So you can get an idea how to like use CSS and some fancy images and create your own style for Icinga Web 2. This is just an example. And the just for fun thing is there are several community members who started to post things on Twitter with some images. And so interesting. I think it started at OSMC at the hackathon last year with the Always Green Icinga Web 2. And then some other things popped up. And Always Green looks nice, but if you go on the right side, it's interesting. I think Batman was done by Jens Schanz. The pony over there is Carsten. I think he was some sort of bit of aggressive after work or something like that. And the LSD thing actually is something I need to show you. Yeah, I did a lot of Vagrant Box refactoring, so I have the possibility where? Configuration, yeah, okay, thank you. It's called LSD trip. Yeah, I don't take any responsibility now. So, reload. Oh yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, and this, look at this. So, I think my browser will die at some point. I don't know how this really works. I think I'll go with this one. So, it's not really my style, but I can barely read that. So, do we have some? Yeah, let's use this one. So everything is green. Everything is green. I really like that. And I think the Batman one was this one. I don't. Does it have anything special? No, but I think I need to log out. Oh. Yeah, you can do your Star Wars theme, your Doctor Who theme, whatever you like. Just create a GitHub repo for it, share it on Icinga Exchange, and put it on Twitter. Instant retweet. So, okay. Anything else? I think that was some community contribution. The dark one. Yeah. I think that's provided with 2.5. There were some problems. Yeah, okay. Not my style again, but that's about it. Hello. So, hopefully I'm somehow in time. Next thing I want to show you, and I think that's really the last one, is dashboards, which also is important. This is right now it's documented. It wasn't before. If you want to use your filtered detail views, your filtered monitoring lists, you can actually add show full screen, show compact, and also use add columns to add specific columns to your views, which means the example below adds the host output and the host address to the view. And then you can just use those mini dashlets in your own dashboards as an iframe on your Office dashboard, wherever you like. So could look like this. Not that fancy, but it's still a list. Doesn't have any menu, anything which would irritate the viewer. To I want to click that. No, you cannot. And we don't have the anything is green thing. And yet again, I always have the problem. I see a list. How many problems are there? Is this critical for my production system? Do I really care? Is the list paginated, 5 pages? I don't know. So sometimes I just want to have numbers. And numbers really help to see okay, 5 problems, not so critical, just warning. It's okay. Some static details would be interesting, like custom attribute for the location, anything which relates to a host group or something like that. And I don't want to click it, just view it and know everything is fine or everything is fucked up. Oh, and not fucked up. Everything is working fine for the boss, but not for me. So I started, I think, 2 years or 3 years ago, looking at some demo stuff for the Icinga API, and I found dashing, which is a framework which allows you to visualize states, numbers, short lists within a widget style, provides its own dashboard. You can actually list open tickets, vacations, meeting room, reservations like we do at Netways. Anything you can put into dashing can be done. You can use colors for state indication, which is a cool thing. The not so good thing is, if you really want to develop it or enhance it, you need to know a bit of Ruby, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and CoffeeScript. The last one, maybe not if you're just using the widgets, but like the developer in me wants to enhance everything. And but I think it's a really awesome framework. Thing is, widgets could look like this, presents a number, some coloring, some styling, and also doing dynamic updates. So if something changes in the monitoring system, let's say it's 35, so everything is dynamic. You have your dashboard where you can drag and drop, or you can define your widgets within an HTML style thing. Different widget types. There's lots of widgets are available on GitHub in the community. You define that widget or the data source as data ID. This is pretty important. This was like looking for 3 days how it works, and then that's it. So I documented it, and static HTML as a template. Once you're into it, you basically understand it, and you can see that's the current dashboard. So, and the job is somehow the boring part. You can also use the REST API to push events into it. You run it every X seconds. In this example, 10 seconds. Query the Icinga 2 API. Extract the data. This is all Ruby code, so either you can Google it, copy paste it somewhere from Stack Overflow, or you know Ruby and say, okay, yeah, it works, but it's not great. My Ruby sucks, but it works. And then you have the send event function, which sends the data. You mangle up, you wrap up to the data ID, which is defined in your HTML template. That's basically it. So for me, that's the monitoring love, because it's really funny to develop, and I thought it was complete. So this is the current one, the 1.4. Yeah, and then Leonard approached me because he's writing Icinga book chapters. How about dashing? Write something about dashing. And I said, I have some pull requests open from awesome community members. I want to do this, I want this. Yeah, and some changes. So it's not tagged because I didn't have time. But today or tomorrow, we'll get the version 2.0. Which provides a local configuration file, because right now you need to edit git source, which is bad. And you can just define whatever is needed for the Icinga 2 API, for the credentials. You can use environment variables, which is cool because you don't care about the config file. You can just run it into a container and pass it through. And you can configure the Icinga Web 2 iframe, because I think you can see that at the bottom that was static inside the HTML, which is totally bad. I found a way, which is magic, to let it configure it in a file, in the same file for the API credentials, and it just works. And I also refined a little bit of the layout. So right now it looks like this. We'll merge it soon, and I hope you like it. Yeah, that's about dashing. And I don't know how I'm in time. I think 5 minutes. Yeah, okay, that's totally fine. Just to give you an idea that this is not a mock-up. Oh, it's actually using the dark theme thing. Okay. Yeah, that's basically it. You can actually like zoom or whatever. And if I would say I don't care. Ooh. Oops. Yeah, I'm using random checks. Let's say, is my load broken? Yeah, my load is broken. That's good. Chin und Win. So, and now I should see, hopefully, hello, 10 seconds. Now I have only 3 minutes left. Okay. I think it's the demo effect. Oops. Yeah, okay. Maybe it's a bug. I look into it immediately after the talk. I don't want to like show you how I'm debugging dashing because that's boring. I'm putting log statements into it. But the thing is, it looks awesome, and I look into the rest. If you have about the ideas, which I do have, I want to share with you. I've been looking into the IoT stuff because I was writing an article for the upcoming iX magazine. I looked into MQTT, MQTT1 by JP Mans. You can put your home automation battery status into Icinga, Graphite, be alerted, whatever thing. That's really an awesome idea. And I want to follow that approach. I also want to look into callbacks for notifications, HTTP inside Icinga 2. Let's see about that. If you have any ideas, share them with us. Best discuss it with the community. And yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Michael. Are there any questions? So we are good in time, so we can still have a couple of questions.
Is the Icinga dashing dashboard still required to have dashing because dashing is not developed anymore?
Yeah, you can just use it.
But
because
I used it and I saw it leaked RAM and so on.
Yeah, the smashing fork actually merged some tests and some other things, but it didn't fix the problem that you cannot use Windows clients as WebSocket because there's a problem with the underlying framework. So you really need to run it on a Raspberry Pi or on your Linux box somewhere in the office. And dashing as is works reliable.
Yeah, because I looked into dashing and I saw on my server that it is leaking RAM. So I have to reset it every now and then, otherwise my RAM is gone.
I think you should look into the thin server then. Maybe there's some tweaking needed, or the thin gem, which is a different dependency in the Ruby gem hell. Yeah, maybe there's a different version which is available on Ubuntu, which is not on Red Hat. Maybe something like that. Okay. But join the forums and we'll figure it out.
Some question. Ah, same question. Okay. More questions? Oh, that slide is horrible.
Brain dump.
Okay. Then again, thank you very much.